So apparently the last time I dedicated a video to Siakam was the most improved player thing, where I kind of downplayed his defense, which I don't understand why I did that. How good is Siakam going to be in his 4th year, where it seems like all the cards are set for him to go nuts and make an all-star team and whatever else? Of course, Kawhi's not here, but I don't know if that will lead to Siakam just not getting as many buckets or anything. I mean, if I remember right, there were a lot of times where Kawhi wouldn't play and Siakam would just have more of a green light and the dude would go kind of nuts in some games. Also, even with Kawhi on the team, or maybe this is a reason for it, Siakam's assisted baskets was the lowest of his career this season, where 49% of his 2-pointers were assisted, and before that, in his first 2 years, they were around 70. A big part of that is also because he's gotten better at creating his own shot, of course. But it's just like, what's going to happen with Siakam? Is he either going to become an awesome shooter, or is he just going to get to another level as a ball handler? Because he can certainly make stuff happen in the half court, but it's a matter of, I mean, look, like he averaged 17 a game this previous season. Is he going to get up to 20-something a game through being like, give me the ball on the top of the key and I'm going to create something and I'm going to get pick and rolls? Like, that would be kind of wild for this guy to get to that point. But based on the improvements to where he's at in his 3rd year, it might be a possibility. Or if anything, it could be like a Blake Griffin sort of thing, where Blake, not too often does Blake just have the ball up top and the team is asking him to just do something, but it'll be like every time Blake gets a rebound, he brings it up floor himself, similar to what Siakam could do. I guess part of that would be if Siakam goes to another level as a rebounder. And then there's also like the Raptors throwing him the ball on the elbow a little bit more, and the face-up game, and just giving him more situations to where he can bust out the spin move and the crafty floaters and hook shots and all that. Of course, he'll be setting a lot of screens, and he can go off the dribble on those if the defense dares him to. It seems like Lowry is still going to be his pick-and-roll partner, and given how much money Lowry makes, he's probably not going to get traded. So that's a thing. I mean, defenses still care about Lowry, even if his scoring is definitely on the downside, but especially if he's looking confident, shooting pull-up threes off the screen and all that, that could open up some more opportunities for Siakam. I don't know if there's anybody else on that Raptors team they're really going to get freaked out about. I mean, Van Fleet's like a dude. Obviously, he was amazing in the finals, but I don't think teams are going to be like trapping Van Fleet or anything to give Siakam the rolling opportunities or going off of one dribble moments that he can have, the Draymond type of things. Could we see some Siakam at center? According to Basketball Reference, that happened not that much this season. And if I remember the playoffs right, majority of the time it was Siakam with Gasol or with Ibaka. There were not many times when he was the lone big man. And perhaps that could be a way for his offense to just go to a different level, because at that point the spacing is all around him and he can just kind of barrel his way to the rim, and he can probably out-athletic most NBA centers. I could see it. I think Nick Nurse is definitely going to try it. I mean, I do think this Raptors team can still be like a 45-win team or so, potentially even more, to be honest. They were very good without Kawhi. But I still think Nurse is going to experiment a little bit more. Like, this is not going to be them trading for Marc Gasol because they want to win the title that season, and as a result, Siakam, you're playing the 4 and sometimes even the 3 deep into the postseason. So, could see him at the 5. We can argue about how good the spacing would be around him in that situation, but even so, I do think there's room for that to be pretty good. If we could talk about the shooting, I mean, I'd like to think Siakam can get to PJ Tucker. Well, maybe, but maybe not this season. I mean, 37% on 3 a game for the regular season, and that was with him being really open in the corner the majority of the time. And the dude does take a second to kind of get it up there. Like, he's got to think about what he's doing a little bit. And then as for the playoffs, the 3 was not as good, 28% on 4 a game. So I guess that one's just a wait and see. I mean, I'm sure he'll be better in the regular season. Like, could he get to, I don't know, could Siakam get to 4 attempts a game on 36%? Yeah, potentially. I mean, I don't think that's too ridiculous to ask for. I don't know if we're ever going to get to a point of him hitting like 3s off the dribble, but I don't think we really need to be expecting that either. Like, to prop up Siakam a little bit more, because I don't want to sound like I'm down on the dude. Like, I do think we're going to see improvement from him this season. Like, he wasn't making 3s in the playoffs, and teams were leaving him open and doing whatever else. And he was still, like, this team's number 2 scorer for most of the series, or potentially even all of them if I go check all of them. I mean, he averaged, like 20 a game in the finals, 20 a game against Philly, and that was even with a game or two where they freaked him out by putting Embiid on him, if I remember correctly. I mean, against the Bucks, with Kawhi still playing amazing, of course, Siakam, it was a little down. He averaged 15 and 7, but still, I think we saw enough big scoring performances out of him to where I think he's just one of those guys who can just kind of manufacture buckets in a way to where it's not always going to look pretty, but assuming that he can keep making little improvements to his handle and his shooting and all that, he could be pretty good. So, and then defensively, he's going to be awesome, of course. So, what about a stat line for Siakam this upcoming season? We'll say he played 32 minutes this previous year. He could bump it up to like 34, 35. I mean, he's athletic and hasn't had much in the way of injury trouble, so that can go up a bit. As for point totals, can he hover 20 a game? Maybe like 19 a game? I mean, he shot 12 shots a game. You have to assume that's going to be up to like 14 or 15 this year, so maybe a little over 20 a game. I'll say 20 on the dot. We'll say 20 points, about 7-8 rebounds, 3.5 to 4 assists. I haven't like gone through the list in the Eastern Conference of who would make the All-Star team, but probably in consideration for it, I would have to assume. And I think I am good with that. So shout out to Siakam, and that's it.